Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of our yet another shitty podcast. One thing that I need to address before I go on this time is that I realized that in podcasts or YouTube channels or everything, you're supposed to uh, you know announce your name and just let the people that are listening or watching for the first time know who you are. But for some reason I thought everyone knows that because I have talked about it in the first episode. So yeah, that's extremely amateur. And so I'm Amir Reza. My friend is Ali, the other guy that will talk
Hello.
soon. And today we're gonna have a guest, Babak, my uh an old friend of mine. We have never actually met each other, which is kind of a good thing. Banter, of course. And he's a really good friend of mine. We bonded over GTA Online, but I'm not gonna go into history. So he's here to talk about the Arkham series, Batman, and we welcome him, Bobak.
Hello everyone, I'm Babak. It was nice to join in this podcast. And yes, we can talk about our relationship history, but I don't think it's suitable for this conversation.
Yeah, okay. Today, a tragic event happened that affected most of Iranians and, of course, people that are associated with the cinema of Iran. And we lost a great actor named Muhammad Ali Keshavarz. I think Ali will talk more about him and why
Yeah,
he's an
yeah.
important person.
To be honest, he's important to me personally because he's my favorite Iranian actor. I love the man more than I can express it. And he's important because you can see his steps throughout the Iranian cinema history to all walks of life. He was one of the original um, group of actors that got famous, Azatollah Intizami, Jamshid Mashayikhi, Davud Rashidi, and Muhammad Ali Keshavarz. And throughout his life, he worked with all sorts of directors, from Bahram Beyzai and Abbas Kiarostami to Ali Hatami. Actually, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably heard it. Our opening credit song theme is the theme of Hazar Dastan, a TV show by Ali Hatami. And Muhammad Ali Keshavarz plays an important character in the series called Shabuna Ostokhuni, and he was just an amazing actor. And he was sick. He was 90 years old, and today we lost him. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad because he never got his due diligence. He was never as famous as his fellow friends, and yet he deserved so much more. I just wanted to mention him and sort of wish him um, rest in peace.
Yeah, may he rest in peace and you know, all the
Well,
best thoughts and
yeah,
all that. Okay, so today we're gonna talk about the animated series Archer,
Archer.
uh,
Yeah,
and then we're gonna move on to Batman Arkham series. So, to give you a little brief, explanation as what Archer is, it's an animated series, comedy series that is kind of a parody of the espionage genre, like James
James
Bond
Bond,
and Pink
Mission
Panther, even.
Impossible.
Yeah, Mission Impossible. Even at some points, it's a parody of the, uh, you know, uh, what is the genre of movies like Ocean's 11 and stuff like that.
Oh, heist movies.
Yeah, sometimes it kind of it crosses over two genres that are in some ways associated with espionage or this kind of storytelling.
In
Uh,
general, gadget movies, movies that utilizes gadgets and stuff like that.
yeah, especially in the first like 4 or 5 seasons, the
Yeah,
show undergoes a lot of change in its duration, and it has
Yeah.
not stopped yet. I mean, it's still going to have, I think,
As
at
far
least
as
one more
we know,
season,
there
right?
is one more season. Yes, there is one more season. After that, I'm not sure. Uh, I mean, what else does effects have beside Archer and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Yeah, because it was originally developed as a companion to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So
Yeah,
it airs on FX TV channel, cable TV, and the creator is a guy named Adam Reed. You may know him from his other creations like C Lab 2021 and Frisco Dingo. Frisky
Frisky
Dingo?
Dingo. If
Oh yeah, Frisky Dingo.
Frisky Dingo.
Unfortunately,
Okay,
I haven't watched any of
to
them.
be honest, yeah, if you know Adam Reed, you know him because of Archer. Nobody has watched Frisky Dingo.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I haven't
have,
watched them
but
either.
nobody else have watched. I have watched Frisky
But
Dingo. I haven't watched
in
Seal
a
Up
way,
2020.
2021. In a way, Adam
2021,
Reed,
sorry.
you know, draws inspiration from his earlier work himself. I mean, there's
Yeah,
before the fifth or sixth season, I guess, that the show started to have arcs. It was like, I don't know, maybe 11 episodes that 8 or 9 of them were just separate sitcom episodes, and we would have 2 or 3 episodes that were like arc type. They followed a
yeah.
single story through 3 episodes. And I remember in one of the seasons, I'm not sure which, they kind
Uh,
of go to the world of C Lab 2021.
Yeah, yeah, it's a reference. And the art style,
Yeah,
I watched Frisky Dingo, and the art style is just as it's the same. It's identical.
yeah, it's a technique called limited animation, and it's
Yeah,
kind of a really old way of uh, making animation. In some way, you could say that what they do is kind of like South Park, but doesn't look as shitty as that because
yeah.
professional animators do it. And they use, run-of-the-mill software for that, Adobe products like Photoshop and Illustrator. And it's kind of like it's a marriage of traditional and digital ways of making animation, and it's kind of like a comic book, the style of the show. It's an
Oh,
interesting
yeah, very
style.
much. And we talked last episode about cell shading, and
Yeah, in
Archer's
video games.
looks yeah, yeah. Archer looks a lot like it could be
Yeah,
cell
you could just
shaded.
say comic book aesthetics. It's
Yeah, yeah,
comic bookish.
yeah.
Yeah, so the story is the main character is, of course, I mean, the title of the TV
Is
show is the
Sterling
name of the main
Archer.
character. Yeah, Sterling.
Yeah, it's voiced by H. John Benjamin, who Bob's Burger fans will know as Bob, and Family Guy fans will know as Carl.
Yeah, the TV store nerd guy.
Yeah, and he has the
To be
same
perfectly
voice for
honest,
all of them.
yeah, he doesn't. He's a voice actor, but not in the sense that he's acting anything. He has one voice, and in all of them, it's the same. And I gotta
Yeah.
say, I got to know this person through Archer. I think it was 2010, maybe. I'm sure that I think it was 2010 because 2 seasons had come out by then. I started watching it, and I really, really love this voice. I mean, it really happens that
Yeah.
you know, love a voice acting so much. But this guy, wow! And
He had a very
then
peculiar voice.
a very peculiar voice and a very peculiar, uh, how can I say? He has a, uh,
Demeanor.
yeah, it's just that his character bleeds into his voice acting, his personal character,
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
And he's a weird guy. He has a he has a fantastic sense of humor, if you ask me, and the way he pronounces things, his temperament is completely evident in his voice, and it's a wonderful
One, one, uh,
temperament.
one thing though, and I don't know if it was me or not. I first recognized John Benjamin in Archer, and Archer is drawn as this sort of, well, handsome guy. And then later I went and
Yeah.
looked at H. John Benjamin, and well, I'm not
Oh
trying to
yeah, nothing.
badmouth the guy, but he's not handsome
Yeah, it
at
doesn't look good.
all.
But he has beautiful eyes. He has beautiful eyes.
Yeah,
If
yeah, he
you
has beautiful
if
eyes.
you know, don't look at the balding hair and the face, the eyes are good. So yeah, and I got into this guy's voice acting so much that I got to know Bob's Burger because of him. I mean, I was like, okay, so Ed John Benjamin is the voice actor for Archer. What else has he, uh, acted in? And I saw Bob's Burgers. There is this one really weird and obscure and not well known comedy, and it only has one season, and it's called John Benjamin Has a Van, and it's not an animation. It's a movie
Live
style.
action
I mean,
show.
it's a TV show, and wow, there you can see this guy unleashed. He's himself, thoroughly himself, and
Yeah,
it's a very surreal comedy. It's not even a parody. It's what a parody of a parody would look like, but not in a bad way. I genuinely enjoyed the show, but it's really weird. I can't put it into words. It's like you've talked about B movies in your uh,
yeah,
YouTube channel.
yeah.
Let's
They
assume
can.
there was a C movie, and that C movie was trying to be a B movie and make that a TV show. That is John Benjamin Has a Van. But
Yeah.
the budget limitations have made it extremely funny. I mean, the guy is kind of a genius
Well,
when he's exploiting the budget limitations to make comedy on that show.
I mean, budget limitations are inherently funny because I mean,
Yeah,
Monty Python's biggest joke in
yeah,
Holy Grail is the coconuts one. It's
yeah,
only because they really didn't have budgets to buy horses.
yeah. So yeah, we're not gonna talk about that show that much, but just know that
Yeah,
if you watch that show, you're gonna get to know John Benjamin completely. He's himself there, and the comedy, the routines, everything you see there, you're gonna see in Archer and in Bob's Burgers too. It's just because this guy brings himself in. So yeah, I was gonna say Bob's Burgers. Okay, Archer, as we talked about him, is this guy
Archer.
voiced by John Benjamin, and this guy has a character that is kind of uh, he has wrapped himself around Archer, not the way around. I mean, I couldn't. He's one of those characters that you couldn't imagine without the voice acting. The writing,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, the writing doesn't make him who he is. He is who he is when you
Because of
consider
the
him
voice
being
acting.
voiced by John Benjamin. Yeah, and he's a handsome,
He's sort of like Scar, you fucking Disney
yeah, in Lion
asshole.
King.
Yeah, it was Jeremy Irons. Okay, let's not enter that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Let's not digress. Yeah, he's
but yeah,
Okay, go
he's
on.
a spy. He's a very bad spy. He's sort of if James Bond was an actual character, because as we all know, James Bond is not a good spy.
Yeah, he's a womanizer.
Yeah,
He is not.
he
He's negligent,
secretive. Yeah,
secretive, and he runs amok sometimes. He goes AWOL sometimes. It's just not professional in any way. But he gets the job done,
yeah.
because he gets the job
Because
done.
because the
Yeah,
movie actually works in his favor. You know, they
yeah.
write the
It's
movie
it's a
so all of
movie.
his
If it was an
shenanigans.
actual spy, nobody would want to look at some guy spying on other people for months
Yeah,
without doing
but
anything interesting.
but that's my point because the movie wants James Bond to be a hero. All of his actions will help him get to his goal.
Yeah.
But in Archer,
Yeah.
the show actually tries to tell you why James Bond doesn't work.
Yeah.
All the
You know,
things
in
that Archer
all,
does is wrong.
yeah, he's a womanizer. He's condescending. He does not respect budgets at all. He just goes, buys everything and
Yeah,
spends on a whim. He goes on spend frenzies all the time. And he has this
yeah,
butler guy who's a junkie, and the relationship these two have, wow, that's tragic and
yeah.
comedic at the same time.
I think that's to tie to our next subject. I think that's a Batman joke.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of a Batman joke, and again, same way Batman, if you look at it realistically, is kind of a stupid
Yeah,
asshole by the things he does. Uh,
yeah,
to be Batman, you know, to have a Batcave, which is his apartment, and to be James Bond, to have your, you know, intelligence company, which is, by the way, named
yeah,
ISIS, and it was in
yeah.
2009. They
It
didn't.
was
The
okay.
ISIS, as we know it, did not exist. ISIS is
Yeah.
short
To
for,
be honest, no, I
yeah,
think it's a joke because their rival company is called Odin, and Isis
yeah,
is a Egyptian goddess.
yeah, and it's short for International Secret, or what was it? International Secret Intelligence
It's
Service,
it
something like that. Something
it's
like
short
that.
ISIS, but back then ISIS wasn't
Yeah,
ISIS.
ISIS, ISIL, or Daesh did not exist, but after the fifth season, they did become a reality, and I think Adam Reed acknowledged that. I mean, he tried to, I think, downplay the ISIS parts
Yeah, I mean
in a
they
way.
literally they did Archer Vice, which we'll get to
Yeah,
because I mean, can I say something about Archer?
yeah,
I love this show. It's my sixth favorite comedy show of all time.
wow.
But the last two and or three seasons, I look at it and I'm like Don Corleone. I cry and say, "Look at what they done to my boy. They
Yeah, but
butchered my boy."
yeah, but before we can explain how that happened, first let's
Yeah,
go over, you know, do a rollout
the
of all the
the yeah
characters.
other character,
So we have Archer, as we talked about, and his butler, which I don't remember the name. Oh my God.
Woodhouse. Woodhouse.
Yeah, Woodhouse. Woodhouse. And one of the other most interesting and important characters in this show is the mother of Archer,
Yeah,
Mallory
Archer's
Archer.
mother.
Yeah. By the way, Sterling Mallory Archer. The name of the
Yeah,
guy has Mallory in it because the mother, wow, that narcissism is unparalleled. It just doesn't exist anywhere else.
yeah.
And
And we need to explain. Mallory Archer is the head of ISIS, the
yeah,
intelligence service, not
yeah,
ISIS,
not
the
the other one, yeah.
not the other one.
Yeah,
The
let's just
show's
call it
ISIS.
MI6 from now on. Let's just say ICE
Yeah,
when we want to talk about ISIS in this TV show, the ISIS that intelligence service, we're gonna use MI6. So the head of the
yeah.
MI6, which is a private company, intelligence company, she is there to tell us why Archer is the asshole he is. I mean, she is the
Yeah.
worst parent one could have. I mean, she stands next to the parents of BoJack Horseman. An incredible job in
Oh
destroying a
yeah.
human being. It's just
Or a horse
narcissism,
being.
alcoholism, uh, I don't know, letting your life
Yeah.
be ruled by your emotions and sex drive, everything wrong with a woman and a parent. I mean, if she was only a woman, you would be like, okay, she's a free spirited woman. But to give that woman a child, wow,
I mean,
it's
remember
incredible.
how she gave birth to Archer? It was on a war zone, and
Yeah,
Woodhouse was the one that helped her.
yeah. She.
I mean, if Freud was alive, he could write like books about Archer and his
Yeah,
Oedipus
the
complex, and I'm not
relationships.
kidding.
Oh my God. Yeah. The
Yeah,
Oedipus complex is out there in this show. And it shows
yeah,
the genius of the writers. I mean, it's a perfectly well structured story. They knew what they're talking about. The relationship between the characters and the reason they are who they are, it all makes sense. It's real, it's psychological. It's a really good
yeah.
writing. And
And
so,
also,
you
it's
know,
a practical thing too. If Archer is an asshole, why isn't he fired?
yeah, because
Because
first
his
of all,
mother,
he's the son of the head of the company, and also because the
yeah,
mother is not exactly the best example out there either. So,
yeah, exactly. Then we
and
have
yeah,
Lana.
yeah, Lana is
Lana!
the Lana. Wow,
Lana!
Lana, and this exact bit is something that wouldn't exist without John Benjamin. It's just his comedy
Yeah,
to shout out someone's name so many times that it becomes funny. So Lana
yeah,
is this African American woman who was
we,
previously radical activist, left-leaning radical activist who I
yeah,
don't know how but got attracted to this line of work, and they have a thing throughout the series. Every season they have a thing. They have an extremely intense sexual tension. Archer
yeah.
and Lana, they're just you can't cut the sexual tension with a knife. Oh my god, they always have it, and we're not gonna spoil some of the things that happens during
But
their
it's
relationship, but yeah, they just know that these guys are just
they are like
they're
rabbits. They just keep
y-
fucking each other.
yeah, and not just physically, in every way. They just need each
Yeah,
other. To draw an allegory, no, to draw a, compare the show with Batman as we did. The relationship Lana and Archer have is kind of like the relationship between Batman and Joker. Two insane guys that.
okay. I thought you were going to say Selena Kyle. I was not ready for Joker.
No, not. In a way, I can only assume that in a way, if Lana was not a part of this MI6 agency, Archer would quit his job. I mean it. It's the Oedipus
Yeah,
complex
it's
only
possible.
manifests itself through uh, you know, the symbolic presence of his mother in Lana. It's just really
Yeah,
fucked up, but that's what's going on.
I mean, if I remember correctly, I think it was in the first episode, so it's not a big spoiler if you haven't watched the show,
Yeah,
but Archer likes to be spanked by a paddle, and
yeah, and tortured basically.
no, no, yeah, yeah, but the thing is, the spanking with a paddle, we learn later episodes that it's what his
Yeah,
mother used to do to him when he was
and spoiler alert,
younger.
in almost all of the sex scenes of this show, you're gonna see ping pong uh,
Yeah,
rackets and things
paddles.
like that, paddles. Yeah, this guy does it all the time. It's just disturbing. So let's
Yeah,
move on
and
to
because it's, oh God, this character
yeah.
is, uh,
We're not here to talk about the psychoanalytic
yeah,
aspects of the show because if we were, it would need more than just one episode and it would get dirty. So we have
yeah.
Pam, who is a fat monster. By monster, I don't mean ugly.
She's
She doesn't
literally a
have a
monster.
bad moral compass. She has no moral compass at all.
Yeah.
Which is a theme in this
She
show.
started
Almost
she started
all of the
kind of
characters
tame
don't
though.
have a moral compass. Yeah,
Yeah, but she started kind of tame and then she got more
yeah, they
monstrous
developed
and
it into this crazy
yeah,
woman that,
and she's big and she's a wrestler for the Yakuza and she's just literally a monster in every sense because she's also kind of indestructible.
Yeah, she's very strong physically. And
Yeah,
I think she's had sex with all of the co-workers, and all of this institute have had
yeah.
sex with Pam at one point. Which brings us to the next great character, Cheryl. Now, Cheryl, before we
Or
get into it, I think to me is the hottest character of entertainment. Books, movies, TV shows, video games. No one gets me going like this one. She is, first of all,
thank you
extremely
for
hot.
sharing that.
Yeah,
Thank you for
of course.
sharing that.
Yeah, first of all, she's extremely hot physically. She's a red hair with great body, and I love the voice acting. The voice actor
Uh,
herself doesn't look that good, but fits perfectly with
Carla,
this
I
body.
actually like her. Judy Greer. She was in Arrested
Uh,
Development.
yeah, she's cute, but she's not hot. You know what I mean? Uh,
Okay, okay.
so yeah, the voice actor is her, and what tops all of this is the character. She is the glue
Not.
sniffing, mentally disturbed with the capital D. I mean, I couldn't even fathom some of the problems she has mentally. I mean, wow, her psyche is a mess. It's a
Yeah.
landmine.
I mean,
Yeah,
if Archer has Oedipus complex, she has brother complex. I don't know if you have that or not.
she has a lot of complexes, which is kind of
Yeah,
why she isn't multiple personality. She's
yeah,
not
she's
that
not.
fucked up, but she is at the verge of having it. She just changes her name all the time, changes her style
Yeah,
all the time. And if there
and
was a
she's
character,
rich.
yeah, she's extremely rich. And she doesn't even need to be there, which is exactly
Yeah.
the greatest part about the greatest explanation for her behavior. She's a really rich, born with a diamond spoon in her mouth. and uh, and none of the other guys know this. And it's kind of a spoiler, but you should have watched it. But they find
Yeah.
out like at the fourth season maybe. She's extremely rich, and she doesn't even have to be there. She changes her name all the time. She loves being choked while having sex. She loves being beaten up. Wow, this is turning me on. Wow. Um,
Uh, please don't.
yeah,
Please
this
don't.
kind of tells more about me than about her. Jesus. Okay, and she's crazy. She's hysteric. If
Yeah.
dictionaries needed a picture for a hysterical person, they could put Cheryl's picture next to this word. This is how fucked up and hot and wow 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 wee wah, as Borat would put it.
Oh
Wow wow wow
God,
wee wah
this
character.
is
Very
this is getting
nice.
disturbing.
Yeah, very nice. Her vagina is perfect. Uh,
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. I think you should talk about the other characters a little while because I'm sweating.
Oh God. Okay, the next character is Cyril, I think, right?
Yeah. Yes, Cyril, which is voiced by the same guy that does
Voices Jerry
Jerry.
in Rick and
Yeah.
Morty. Chris
He's
Parnell. He's a
basically
great
both
actor,
in
by the way.
TV shows and in animated series and movies. Everything he does, whether it's voice acting or actual acting, he's a loser. He's just, I don't know, maybe he's actually a loser. I don't know.
Come on. I mean, if for those of you who want to see him live in the show 30 Rock, he is Dr. Spaceman.
I haven't watched that, but him being a loser has
Oh,
been cemented in my brain. I can't not look at him except
he's
for a
actually
loser.
a very good actor. He was on SNL also. He's a very
I'm not
good
saying he's a
actor.
bad
And
actor. I'm just saying he has been typecast as
yeah,
a
he's been
loser.
typecasted.
Yeah.
And okay, so he's a loser accountant that he's just there to sort of be the moral compass and do the right thing, but it's there more because you see that the exuberant life of Archer needs a sort of an antithesis to see
Yeah.
when he spends, whose money he's spending,
Yeah.
and
He's just there to show us that if a normal human being was in that company,
yeah,
how they would
what
rank
would
up
happen.
against the other characters.
And the early seasons is just there because when Lana is mad at Archer, she goes and dates Sarah,
Yeah, it's
which,
like the plan B or the insurance of
yeah,
having sex and pissing off Archer. He's used but as a tool, just like in Rick and Morty. Jerry is a tool. He's a tool there too. I mean,
yeah.
he has sex with a lot of characters in this show, but never, not even once, does the phrase "he's a player" cross your mind because he's not. He's even in having sex with all
He,
those people. He's still a loser. That's something
I mean,
extremely hard
the
to
thing
achieve,
is,
but he manages to do it. Yeah.
he's having sex with all of them, but he never initiates any of those sexes.
And you can always imagine that he's doing everything he's told. He never,
Yeah.
he doesn't have agency in anything, in a way. He has to be told what to do. And then we have
And
Ray,
Nick,
which is a gay character voiced by Adam Reed himself. And
he's
I don't
sort
know
of,
what to
I think
say.
he's the good agent. He's the agent that actually does shit and gets shit done.
Yeah,
He's the good
he,
spy.
yeah, he's the professional spy. Which, as a joke,
Yeah.
in South Park, Kenny always died for a few seasons. This guy
Oh
always
yeah.
gets shot and always gets physical harm and injury. It's just a part of the show, especially in the
Yeah.
first few seasons. It's like they are friendly fires, enemy fires, ricochets. I mean, I think he's been shot by ricochets like 3 times. I don't know. He just gets shot all the time. Even
And
when he's not
at
on the
some
field,
point,
he's in another room or another place
yeah.
out of the action, but he gets shot. And that's a joke. That's a running
And at
gag
some
of
point,
the
he
show.
even gets on wheelchair. He gets
Yeah,
on wheelchair, and
and then gets turned
which
into a
brings us,
cyborg to the next
yeah, which
character.
brings us to my favorite character. Yes, you have the
Yeah.
hots for Cheryl. I have the hots for Krieger, the German
Okay. Yeah.
ex-Nazi scientist that
Yeah.
is exactly how you imagine it. Imagine a German ex-Nazi scientist who does gadgets and crazy experiments.
He is
Do you imagine
both.
that character have a beard? You're right.
Yeah. The hair color, the physical, the facial attributes,
Yeah,
the eye
the
color,
voice.
the voice, the accent. He's both an extremely cliched stereotype, but at the same time, they add some eccentricities to this guy that give it depth.
He's very
And
unique.
that's
This,
incredible. Yeah.
I,
I mean, he has a
this is a
girlfriend,
minor spoiler.
which
Oh
is
yeah, the
a
girlfriend, Japanese
the
waifu hologram.
yeah, and she basically he has developed an
Oh,
AI that is incredibly intelligent, and they actually have a
yes.
relationship, and it's
At
real, and
at
it's
some point, I think they marry or he proposes to her. I
yeah,
remember he proposing to her.
yeah, and this brings something. This show, because of the heyday of espionage genre movies, was like 70s, 80s. this show is kind of
Yeah,
set in that world, but it's an alternative reality. It's a reality that the technology is in a way like 1985, but at the same time you have things that we don't have yet even. It's
yeah,
it's a weird thing, but it doesn't feel out of place. Unlike solar opposites and uh,
opposite.
what was the regular show that we mentioned in the previous podcast,
Yeah,
they kind of feel out of
in the
place. They're not in
first,
conjunction with each other. But in this show, it works perfectly. It's believable. It's
yeah,
smooth. It's seamless. The
yeah,
integration.
and because you have a character like Krieger there, which is
Yeah,
just amazing. The man is
yeah,
amazing. Uh, I mean, this is a minor spoiler. It's not a, it's a major spoiler, but fuck it, I'm going to say it.
yeah. So if you don't want
Archer
to get
had a
spoiled, don't
girlfriend.
listen to this next 30 seconds. Okay,
Yeah,
go
Archer
ahead.
had a girlfriend,
Yeah.
and the girlfriend dies. And
Oh
it was a
yeah,
very traumatic experience for Archer. But unbeknownst to him, Krieger had taken the body of Archer's girlfriend and turned her into a robot,
yeah. And
which
we're not
brings
gonna
another
say
character.
what happened with that robot and the thing that Krieger made. Oh my god, this is disturbing.
Yeah,
Let's
but
go to the
brings us
next
to our
one.
next character, which is I don't remember his name, but it's the rival of Archer,
I
which
think it's
also becomes a
Barry.
robot.
I think it's Barry.
Yeah, Barry,
Yeah.
which is
For
just
once,
another
I remember the
asshole.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, which is just some asshole. It's Archer, but
Barry exists because he's actually a really good, well trained, and professional spy. The reason why he gets fucked up and does stupid shit is Archer. Archer brings him down. If
yeah,
Archer didn't exist, this guy would be the best spy possible. But Archer exists
yeah,
and renders this guy useless, fucks him up. And spoiler
yeah.
alert
I
again,
mean,
don't listen for 10 seconds, but this guy too turns into a robot.
he becomes Terminator. He's not a
Yeah,
cyborg. He's literally Terminator.
yeah.
I mean, it's just
So,
it's Archer. Now,
yeah,
let's talk about what ruined Archer.
yeah.
Oh God.
So, in Adam Reed's own words, after doing this parody of spy movies and espionage and heist movies and all that for 4 seasons, he felt like he can't keep on doing it and he can't drag the story that way. And he decided to do something interesting. To This is gonna be a spoiler alert again. Uh, so Archer goes in a coma, and the next,
No,
and
that's not
I
the
think
fourth season.
that's
Because
after the fifth
then
season.
after fourth season, it's what season are we on now?
We had
I think
we
we
have
are
had
in
10
season
seasons.
10.
Yeah.
So it's season 10, 9, and 8. After season 7, it happened. Season 5 is Archer Vice, which is just the normal Archer, but it happens outside of an intelligence system. It's Archer being a criminal, being a drug lord.
Yeah, but he goes into the coma, and they kind of, even before that, they kind of try to, as you put it, change the direction of the show. But when he goes to the coma,
Yeah.
even then, the show is good for like 1 season or even two.
Yeah, Archer
But
Dreamland, which
yeah,
was the neo-noir stuff.
it's kind of a comic book kind of thing, as we see in comic books. I mean, the origins of the
Yeah.
superheroes change every time a new
Yeah.
generation or new, I don't know, new um, approach to the show, to the character is developed. I mean, Spider-Man has had multiple different origins, Batman also. And that's what makes them interesting.
Yeah.
It's this kind of the same thing with mythology. I mean, different gods, different places in the world, and we have different stories about those gods, even in the same place, like in different villages have different renditions of the story. And
Yeah,
it's something as old as human storytelling. And it's not a problem that is being done here. The characters are kind of used to make new shows in a way, and it's interesting for the first 1 or 2 years, but then it starts to subvert the show
exactly.
itself.
Especially season 9 and season 10. Danger Island and season 10, I think, was 1999.
I guess
Uh, the- Danger Island, it sits on a sort of a resort,
it's
and
kind of an Indiana
1999 is a,
Jones kind of,
yeah,
yeah, escapade, Indiana Jones kind of escapade.
and 1999 is in space,
Yeah, which is
which
um
is it's one of those things that people make fun of in franchises that have no creativity left. Friday the 13th did it. They bring Jason to space, and they're saying Fast and Furious is going to do it.
and it's not just the drought of the creativity. I mean, it doesn't only showcase itself in the space and the location. This season also is extremely influenced by Rick and Morty type of storytelling and humor,
Yeah,
and certain characters and certain events would not have existed without Rick and Morty,
we
which
can
is
more.
not in itself a bad thing, but a show that had a character by itself and it was a really good character. It's kind of tragic to see it imitating other shows. It just shows
Yeah,
that the
and one of
soul
the
has left
things
the body.
exactly, and I don't know if it was me or not. Danger Island, I can sort of tolerate. But
Mhm.
1999 was just so boring. I mean,
To me, it
what?
wasn't boring, but it was so scattered and so it was a hodgepodge. It was a alphabet soup of every idea that they could have shoved into the show without a clear vision or direction. They were just. It was like the writing
The
room were
biggest,
in panic. There was a fire in the room, and they just wanted to write something and get out of the room. That's how I felt watching the 10th season.
yeah, but the biggest crime of both of these last seasons and some part of the Dreamland, because I don't want to just
Mhm.
blame these two, Dreamland started it. They're not funny.
Uh, to me, they are funny, but they become
I
differently
never
funny
laugh.
because it's not a parody anymore. They try to
It's not a character
retain the.
joke anymore.
Yeah, and one of the things, let's talk about the comedy of the show. The comedy of the show is kind of unique and you haven't seen it before. First of all, you have to have a really good understanding of the English language and the English literature, and also the history of cinema and TV shows, because there are a lot of references in this TV show. I mean,
A lot of
um,
obscure references.
yeah, sometimes you just have to pause it and look at it, and it comes from Adam Reed's background. I mean, I think, he has majored in English literature or something like that. So he's read a lot of books, and
I
you have references as evident as, I don't know, Moby Dick, to references like uh, writers that only if, not many people read them. Let's be honest. Like, uh, except for a few
you have
well-known writers who would read. For instance, let's say Scott Fitzgerald. Okay, The Great Gatsby. Maybe everyone has read it, including me. But he has a lot of other books that we haven't read, and they are referenced. And
yeah. Or
and you
movies.
don't
I
get them.
mean, what sort of other shows reference the movie The Boys from Brazil? What
Yeah.
the hell? It's the same. I've seen it, but I'm pretty sure nobody else has. Have you seen the movie where Laurence Olivier and Gregory Peck are going to find
Mm,
clones of Hitler?
nope.
Well,
And so yeah,
and
this is one part of the comedy. The other part
the
is running gags.
is the
They have,
and characters. I mean, you
yeah,
laugh at the even if you
the
don't get the
characters and the
reference, you
chemistry
laugh at the
between them.
character.
Yeah, but the running
Yeah.
gags, like we have the Ray being shot, we have something
Oh
they
yeah,
call
running
phrasing.
gags
Are we phrasing? And phrasing is
are we doing
basically that's what
phrasing?
she said and that's what he said. That's it's like when they say something that is sexual, instead of saying that's what he said or she said, they say are we phrasing? So that's one of the jokes. The other one is
Yeah.
there was this YouTube video that, in a way, shed light to the comedy for me at least. It said that one part of the comedy of this show is miscommunication, and I totally agree with it because
Oh yeah.
most
Yeah.
of the show they're either physically not hearing each other or psychologically ignoring each other. Like they hear it physically, but their brain blocks it, or they just they are not on the same level sometimes, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of miscommunication on this show. Nobody gets the references Archer throws like the viewer. So in some way maybe they don't want you to references. They are aware of the fact that you're not aware, that you don't know these references, and then
Yeah.
they call each other. Their expectations, even when said out loud, are not met. It's just miscommunication, and they are not a coherent group in any way.
Yeah.
It's the contrast and the differences and this miscommunication that makes
And
this
may I
show
say
extremely
something
funny.
because
Yeah,
we already talked about both Rick and Morty and BoJack Horseman. We
yeah.
mentioned them. One of the things that got the show kind of special in my heart was that they never tried to humanize Archer.
Oh, yeah.
Archer is an
It's,
asshole,
yeah,
just plain. He's you know why he's an asshole. You see Mallory, you see his family, you see the fact that he has never seen his father, and he sees
yeah,
Burt Reynolds as his father, and but they never try to humanize him. They never say, yes, let us sit here and talk about why Archer isn't wrong in what he's doing, which is something Rick and
yeah,
Morty does a lot.
yeah. But
Archer
I think
never got,
let's talk like let's talk the let's finish up with Archer. Let's see if we have left anything
yeah.
out. The
I
aesthetics,
mean,
we talked about it.
as I
The
said,
themes, yeah,
the last two seasons, let's just finish them up. I don't find them funny because they're not jokes about characters anymore. They are doing the thing which I hated, and I'm saying this show, I don't hate this show that I'm about to talk about, but it does this sort of jokes a lot. How I Met Your Mother does
yeah.
throwback jokes, you
Oh,
know?
yeah,
It was
yeah.
funny the first time we did it. Now we are mentioning the first time we did it.
It's just a
And
symptom of not having any new creative ideas anymore. The ideas have been churned out.
yeah,
The writing room is. I mean, it was much better if the show had
it's
stopped being aired.
exhausted.
Yeah, it would have been it would have been a perfect show if they knew when to pull out, you know. But they kept
Exactly,
screwing
exactly.
the show to the point that
But
it's just not making any sense
yeah,
anymore.
and the last two seasons of Archer, I think the main joke is, do you know Krieger? Isn't it funny that Krieger is a parrot? Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, one thing I
it's not
forgot to
funny.
mention. Krieger, there's this fish in the animated TV series American
American
Dad.
Dad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his name is Clank. What's his name?
Klaus.
Klaus. Yeah, Klaus. Klaus is also German, but he's not a scientist. He's a test subject
He,
of a scientist. He's a skier
yeah, he was a
turned
ski. He was a skier,
yeah, skier
Olympic
turned into
skier. That we need to talk about American Dad at some point because he was an
okay.
Olympic skier, but America was afraid that he might actually win a medal, and America wanted that medal, so they put his brain inside the brain of a fish.
Yeah.
God damn it, Chef MacFarlane.
Yeah, he's a favorite character of mine too.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's it.
So
That's
that's
Archer.
Arkham.
Yeah,
Look at what they
and
done to my boy. Look at what they done to my boy.
so
I
now we
only
move to stop mourning the dead child. Let's move on. You have to get closure.
yeah, yeah,
Let's move on to Batman, and I think
yeah.
Babak is going to, because his name starts with a B, of course, B and A. Babak, Batman.
Also,
He has to talk about. Yeah, and he's also in Sweden, the land of the bats. Not
Uh,
physical bats, human bats, because they're bats.
don't eat bats. Don't eat bats.
That's
They
China.
give you
Swedish don't eat
coronavirus.
bats. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the Arkham series. Bobek, I hand
uh,
the microphone to thee.
okay. I have a question. So, can we spoil anything from the series, or
Yeah, of course, but always say spoiler alert so that the listener can skip for like 10, 20 seconds before you say the
uh,
spoiler.
okay? I'm gonna say it now because I think I need to say a couple of things in the story. So please play the games before listening to this part. So let's start with Batman series. First, I need to say this. Back in 2009, I was like, okay, they just released a Batman game. It's gonna be like so, maybe I don't know, 6.5 points out of 10. But when they released Arkham Asylum, I was like, wow, what the hell is this? This is like a revolution in these types of games. And I know it's a triple A game and you expect too much, but considering all the games, for example, I don't know, the Assassin's Creed, I think, and
The
maybe,
games in the genre, like the superhero games before this, we had good games,
yeah,
but
but
they
not like,
weren't.
Like what?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Nobody had
Spider-Man
perfected the
2
art.
was good.
yeah. If we are going to just analyze, for example, the first one, Arkham Asylum, it was like, okay, great graphic, great art, great soundtrack, great plot, everything. So
Yeah,
in all the other games, it was like, for example, okay, great graphic and the rest is shit. And
yeah,
the main goal for Rocksteady was like, okay, we can have like average 90 out of 100, and it's gonna be good, and it was. So just to review the whole thing, they released Arkham Asylum in 2009, and it was like groundbreaking. Then they released Arkham City in 2011, and I think it was 1 year after Arkham Asylum in the plot. Then they just handed over to Warner Brothers Games in Montreal, I think, yeah, and they released Arkham Origins in 2013. It was like okay, the game, and the last one in 2015 was Arkham Knight, which was created by Rocksteady again. We can go one by one, or we can just review them from the worst one to the best one. Whatever you like.
yeah. But let's first, I think, explore the motives, the motifs. Sorry, and the
The
general
important part.
feel
Let's
of the
talk about
show.
which games we. Let's talk about which games we played. I mean,
Oh, I've played all of them. I finished the first one, and I think I finished all of them. I didn't finish Arkham Knight yet. I don't know why. But the other three, I finished them more than once. Arkham Asylum, I think 3 times. Arkham
Oh,
Origins, probably 2 times, and Arkham City 2. And yeah, that's me. I think
Oh,
Babak has played all of them, right?
yeah, and also I finished the first one like 3 or 4 times, and
Yeah.
Arkham City like 2 times. Yeah, but I didn't finish the last one, Arkham Knight, with 100%. The code is
Oh,
Nightfall.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
I have
didn't finish
never
it.
completed any of them. I've
Yeah,
just
but
finished them.
uh,
exactly, I just finished the Arkham Knight.
I completed Arkham Asylum, the first one, but the
Mm-hmm.
second one, Arkham City, I played once and it was good. I finished it, but never 100% did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
And I haven't played Origin all night. Mainly because I don't think no, I think my laptop can carry it. I don't know why I haven't played it.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I'm
Babak,
a,
I think we should talk about the aesthetics and what sets it apart from other attempts at making a good Batman that was done like probably more than a dozen times before this one.
yeah, as I said earlier, okay, so you can create a game using one of the comics like Spider-Man, Batman, anything, okay? But this is like 5% of the work. You need to just grow it and make everything great, like the character. Rocksteady, I think, did this job very well, especially in Arkham City, which I think was the peak of the Batman series. But this is my personal opinion. You can say, okay, like for example, Arkham Asylum was the best one, but the recipe was very basic. And Arkham Origins is a good example for that one because they just use the basic concepts like soundtrack, the engine, the combat system in Arkham
Oh
Origins.
yeah, the combat system.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
have to
But
talk more about the combat system.
we will, yeah. But Arkham Origins is like, I don't know, 80 or 100 for me. It's not great. It's good, but
It makes sense because Rocksteady themselves didn't make it.
yeah, yeah. But the funny part is that you can just copy all the things that they did and come up with like acceptable
Still,
game.
yeah, still a good game. Even if
It's
you
still a
don't
good
try
game.
at all, it's still a good game.
For example, okay, let's start with combat system. First,
Yeah.
the combat system in Arkham Asylum was very good. It was brutal, rhythmic. It was very unique at the time. So you have the counter system. You can have the combo, you can have, I don't know, 30, 40 X, to hit your
Okay, quick
opponents.
question.
Yeah.
Quick question. Assassin's Creed 2, did it came before or after Arkham Asylum?
I think it was released in 2009. Yeah.
I think they were released at the same year,
Yeah, exactly.
and the
Oh, yeah.
combat system in
Because
Assassin's Creed got,
it sort of
got
reminded me.
boring.
I don't know if
And I think combat system in Batman was much more better. We cannot
not the
compare them.
counter system because it was the same thing I sort of
Yeah,
remember from Assassin's Creed 2.
yeah. I actually wanted to mention that Assassin's Creed kind of started off this way of combat that you are kind of confronting multiple people, but there were a few problems with that system that I'm gonna talk about. First of
Uh,
all,
they came out
uh,
at the same time, Ali.
yeah, exactly. Uh, in
Uh,
Assassin's Creed,
okay.
it's linear. Like you fight with one person, and the other ones are just looking at you.
Mhm.
Second, there is not great diversity in the number of moves you can do. So it's basically becomes you looking at the guy and you counter it. That's all you do, and then you move to the next one. In Batman, it's not like that. Batman is Assassin's Creed on coke. you know, uh, all the enemies can attack you anytime they want. So you have to always be ready and prepared. And it has a lot of
you can say animations.
combos. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
so
Different finishing combos.
exactly, you have a lot of
It has
animations.
great
For example,
variation.
Yeah,
yeah, if you are countering, I don't know, 3 persons, you can just
yeah,
I don't know, do like push the 2 heads together and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
do something
yeah.
to the
You
other
know,
one.
it's not just variation. It's the ability to try out new things. When you were playing anything Assassin's Creed before Origins, which kind of fixed the problem, but before that, every Assassin's Creed, the fights were extremely boring. You couldn't do them in another way. They were dictating to you how to play. But when a game gives you a lot of tools and gives you freedom, I mean, 10 different players can fight Batman games in 10 different ways. Someone can use gadgets more than the others, someone can use combos more than the others, someone can use uh, power moves. You know, with great options comes great excitement because you don't know what you can do this time. You're trying to top yourself, you're trying to, you know, get better at this fighting. But in Assassin's Creed, it's not that, and it's in many games, it's not that. That's one of the things I loved about the combat system in Batman.
I want to say this in the conclusion for the combat part. The Batman felt more polished in
Yeah,
comparison to Assassin's Creed 2. Yeah, they have like the same system, but Batman felt more polished to me at
I
least.
think, but more than Assassin's Creed, Batman, I think, was influenced more by Spider-Man because Spider-Man used to have something really similar to what Batman did, but
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man
the
2,
movie
I think.
games.
Uh, I think, yeah, Spider-Man 2 is it has a cult following
Oh
actually, and
yeah,
in many ways
yeah, yeah,
it was done good. It was done well. And when
yeah.
even
It was.
Insomniac was making the Amazing Spider-Man for PlayStation 4, they drew a lot of inspiration from Spider-Man 2.
It was
Uh,
actually a good movie too.
Yeah. And which brings us to the platforming or traversing system. So one of the most fun experiences in superhero video games before Batman Arkham was in Spider-Man, the swinging with the spider webs. And the game that made it extremely fun was actually Spider-Man 2, before Amazing Spider-Man, of course. And Batman had always had this, because I had played a lot of Batman movies, Batman video games before, because I loved Batman. I still do. And in none of them, first of all, none of them were open world in the same
exactly. Yeah.
way Spider-Man was. And also, they almost didn't have this uh, freedom in the y-axis of the world. You could only walk or sometimes jump, and it was dictated to you, it was linear. But starting Batman Arkham Asylum, you could use the cape, you could use the grappling hooks, you could you had a lot of
You had
freedom
a
in how you could move.
you
Actually,
had a section of the world that you can just explore however you want,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
sometimes you want to explore it more.
Yeah,
actually, the choice of using the utility belt was on you, not the creator. That was the thing
yeah,
more obvious in the new Batman series. Okay,
yeah,
so considering the combat system, Arkham Asylum was groundbreaking at that
yeah.
time. After that, Arkham City was better. I can say it was improved. Arkham Origins was like a bad copy. I don't know how to describe it. It was like
A bad copy of a great thing that results in a good thing.
yeah, it's like a bad cover version of a great song. You
Yeah.
know, the song is
Like
very
Nirvana's "The Man Who Sold the World."
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that they redesigned the combat system. I don't know why, but they redesigned the combat system from ground up, and that was why you felt like a delay in the combat system. But I don't know why they had it in Arkham Origins. But that was the reason. You felt like a pause in some situations.
Yeah, but I think one of the most important things, aside from gameplay, of course, the game has to have a good gameplay. Otherwise, nothing is important.
We can talk about that.
Is the aesthetics and the atmosphere, and I don't just mean technically and graphic wise. The art approach, the approach they had to the design and the
The
Gotham
mood of
of
the game, you mean?
Rocksteady games felt like Gotham. It didn't feel like
yeah.
Chicago, like the Nolan movies. It
After
felt like a
Tim
city.
Burton's Gotham, it was the first time. Of course, the animations were all great, the cartoons, but
Yeah,
outside
the
of that,
animated series.
yeah, it was a Gotham that that was waiting to be made. It was a Gotham that we didn't
Yeah,
need but deserved.
fuck you. Fuck you. Do not quote Nolan movies on this show.
Yeah, but seriously, the mood and the atmosphere is just wow. It's one of the best moods and atmospheres
Yeah.
in all media, all franchises
I mean,
ever,
I
to me
think
personally.
I see it as this way. The Batman, Burton Batman's Gotham was a grimy English city that
Mm-hmm.
was so ridden with crime and filth that it needed Batman.
Yeah.
The animated series was sort of like a futuristic city that required some law because it was so big. It felt ancient. You know what I mean? It's like New York in like 100 years, where everything
Yeah.
is trying to fall down. In the
Yeah.
Rocksteady games, I think Gotham is almost, and say it because I live in it, it feels like Tehran. It's like a city that is very possible to have a city that was badly designed, badly planned, and so much corruption in it that everyone just built their buildings however they wanted.
Yeah, and the architecture is mainly Gothic and maybe Baroque. It's terrifying, to be
That's the
perfectly honest.
thing.
It's yeah.
That's the thing, though. I don't think it has a central theme
No, it doesn't
in
have a
Rocksteady
central
games.
theme, but it just tries to use the scariest buildings of every century in a way. It's like
Or
Exactly.
Chicago style buildings.
yeah, it's modern era buildings. What's the scariest one? Let's put it 15th century. What's the scariest? Let's put it in the game.
The
They
Gotham
just
Tower,
cherry picked. Yeah, they just cherry picked the scariest and most disturbing elements of every different
yeah.
era of
I
architecture
mean,
and implemented
let's
in the
Actually, they
be
game.
got
honest.
some of those from the comics.
Yeah, the comics too, and
Yeah. I mean,
the
comics,
colors.
Gotham in comics is just, it has so many different versions that I don't think
Yeah,
comics even have a Gotham anymore.
uh,
yeah, that's the thing about comic books. The
okay, let's
story, the
back to the
characters.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the game. I don't know if you would like to talk about the mood or the atmosphere of the game. For me, it was Arkham City. It was the creamiest among all of the Batman stories. But,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like real. Everything. I mean, okay. Spoiler alert. So the story is about the Joker. He's infected and he's gonna die. So you need to help him to find a cure as a Batman. As a Batman. So, but it felt
Yeah.
real. Everything. for me, it was the greatest Batman among all the series, and also, for example, for the soundtrack, I felt that
Yeah,
this one was the best. Like maybe with a small margin to Arkham Knight for the
mhm.
soundtrack. And uh, regarding the story, I think Arkham City again was the best. Mm,
Generally, the Arkham series has a very good story. I mean, I haven't read that many comic books of Batman, maybe five or six of them. And of course, one of the most important parts of every Batman comic or story is how Joker becomes Joker and how Harley Quinn becomes Harley Quinn. And
yeah,
to be perfectly honest, one of the
And
best ones to me is in Arkham Origins. It's a really fantastic,
that
both
was the
visually.
only
to be
good point
honest,
of Arkham
Harley
Origins.
Quinn is
Yeah,
after 90s though.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, um, I know Harley Quinn is kind of a new addition to the world, but I just mean the origin of Batman and Joker. We've seen it in movies, in animated series, in TV series, but
I mean, they are basically all Killing Joke, different variants of Killing Joke.
yeah, but I don't know how to put it. Visual aspect of it, visually, aesthetically, the sonic, I mean, the sounds you hear when that transformation is happening, when you're seeing Joker for the first time, and how he's affecting both Batman and Harley Quinn. And sometimes the game puts you in Joker's brain. It's like you're inside of his brain, you're inside of his insanity, and you see how he sees Batman. He sees Batman as a monster. You get genuinely scared of the way the
I mean
Joker
Joker.
sees Batman. Yeah,
No,
Joker.
no. I think I think Joker
I think
loves
you're
him.
talking about the Scarecrow.
I think Joker loves him because he's scared of him. Joker sees Batman as a monster and he wants to be a monster himself, so that's why he loves him. That's my take. I don't know.
Well, okay, maybe that's your take. Yeah, but we can talk about the tower scene when Joker jumps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So after that, one of the police
Let's
officers.
say spoiler alert
Okay,
first. So
the
spoiler
spoiler
alert.
alert. Okay, one of the officers asked Joker, "Where is your friend?" And Joker replied, "He was not my friend." And the officer responded, "Okay, why did he jump for you to to
To
help you,
save you.
to save
Yeah.
you?" Yeah, and he was like, "That is my same question for this one." And in the
Yeah.
church when it was beating up, I felt like, okay, I need you and you need me. You are the same. Maybe that's the reason that Joker loves him, or we can say, okay, spoiler alert, loved him because he died later in
Yeah.
Arkham. But
The fantastic thing to me about Arkham Origins is that before that scene, the tower scene, Joker is this genius criminal, insane genius criminal that just wants to hurt the city and wants to kill Batman. He says it to his goons all the time: kill him or bring him, I don't care, just fuck up Batman. And he's just there to hurt you. But after the tower scene, he explicitly asks his goons not to kill him, and even kills one of his goons
yeah,
because they even mention killing him. So he kind of falls in love with Batman in a way. He just wants to have his attention and to be on the same level as him. He wants to have the respect of Batman after that point.
okay.
I mean, Lego Batman already made that joke, so
Yeah, Batman is not a new thing. Again, I'm not saying anything in these games
yeah.
story-wise is
No, no,
new, but I'm just saying
can I
it's
just say something though?
yeah.
and it's a huge detour, but it's relevant to the game. I never played Arkham Origins, but I've seen cutscenes of it.
Uh-huh.
And can I just say fuck Troy Baker? Because
Okay,
all
I
he
Why?
was
does
going
is
to
a
ask you
poor
about this.
imitation of Mark Hamill.
Yeah. Uh,
Well,
I think
Mark Hamill did an amazing Joker. You can't. I mean, the guy could have tried something new, but I respect the fact that he decided not to because it would have felt weird.
No,
uh,
that's the thing. All he does is a poor imitation of Mark Hamill, and I just really dislike this man, Troy
yeah,
Baker.
Ali, but that I think that was a smart choice. Just consider this: they knew that this game is like a
It's a
sequel, a
prequel.
pre-sequel
I
to
know
that
it's the
one. Yeah, and they cannot change the tone and all the characteristic of the voice completely. So
Yeah.
I know
I
that.
know, but the thing is, it goes beyond that because when Troy Baker did Joker in Arkham Origins, they got him to do Joker in a bunch of other things too,
Oh, yeah. Well, that
and
is a different
all
story.
he
But for the
does
sake of
is,
this game series itself, I think it was the right
Uh,
thing to do.
yeah, I
yeah.
think he was told to do that, but
Yeah.
Mm.
just fuck Troy Baker. Mark Hamill was the best Joker we ever had, and
Yeah.
after that, it's just Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger, but and
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix. I don't
Mark Hamill
hate
was
Joaquin
amazing.
Phoenix. Mark
I
Hamill
mean,
was amazing, but the thing is, and I know it's sort of irrelevant, but John DiMaggio also did a great Joker for the animated movie Under the Red Hood. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Mm-hmm.
He
I
did it
think I haven't.
I saw maybe
uh,
one of them,
uh,
but
Under the
Ali,
Red Hood.
uh,
John DiMaggio did a voice for that, and the thing is, you're not Mark Hamill when you're just doing the bad impression. The thing is, he doesn't even doing a young version of Mark Hamill's Joker. You know what I mean?
mhm, mhm.
He's not trying to make it inexperienced. He's just doing that. And if you
But
want
Troy
that, go
Baker,
get Mark Hamill.
generally speaking, is a great voice actor, and the fact that he can imitate Mark Hamill, to me, is a good thing. And I have a lot of memories from him in video games, Uncharted series.
Yeah, I have
I
Joker
personally
do
really
it.
like him.
Let me ask
But
you
I get your
this.
point.
Okay, you don't like the Joker sound in Origins. What about Smith, Craig Smith in Origins? So they replace both Mark Hamill and Conroy in Rocksteady versions, and they
Kevin Conroy,
replace,
yeah.
yeah, they replace it with Craig
New
Smith
actors.
and Troy Baker. Yeah. So
I didn't like Batman either, but the Batman one, I don't. I never cared about Batman's voice. That's the thing. I think
I
he's
mean,
just a gruff guy.
if I want to explain all of the origins, it is like, okay, just lower all the ratings by 1 or 2 points, except the story. Uh, and this is like Batman Origins. And you can include the voice lines, you can include the graphics, combat, soundtrack, art, everything. So, yeah, it's not the best one, but it is not a disaster. I mean, replacing the
It's the
sound of
Okay,
worst
but
of the
Android.
series, which
we're
is a pretty good
sorry,
game.
sorry, sorry, sorry. But we are hitting the we're almost nearing an hour and a half of speaking, and I think even after editing, it's not going to
Oh,
be that much shorter. So let's wrap it up, guys.
Okay.
okay.
Uh, okay. I think we all agree on Arkham Origins. The the best points is like the story, maybe,
Yeah,
and everything else is like a bad imitation of Rocksteady version of Batman.
yeah,
So we can talk about Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. So everything is the same, and they just evolve in the series. We can talk
yeah.
about the game engine. We can talk about the combat system. everything is just evolving. But the sweet spot, the peak of
The
Batman
size of
series,
the city, the number of side missions you can do, the
everything. Yeah.
Batmobile in the fourth installment, Batman Arkham Knight, and it was used cleverly, and the DLCs, yeah, but it's not like none of them becomes that much different. It's just improvement after improvement. The size gets bigger, the gameplay gets better. It's just improvements.
It's good, reliable. You know
Yeah,
what you don't go into a Arkham game expecting it to be like something radically different. You know what you're
yeah,
getting, but you like what you're getting also.
yeah. To me, it's a great series. Personally, I think it's a good
Yeah.
series and the best superhero video game of all time to
Oh,
date.
of course. I mean, superhero video games, how many good ones? Superman 64. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
But for me, Arkham Knight was a little, I don't know how to describe it, maybe a missed opportunity. One of the reasons I think was Paul Dini, because I don't know why, but he was not involved in Arkham Knight. In
Why?
yeah, in Arkham Asylum and City, he was one of the writers, but not for the Arkham Knight. Maybe that was the missed point for Arkham Knight, and also the Batmobile. You know, the big discussion for Arkham Knight is the Batmobile, and almost
in
no.
some way it's a good thing, but personally I don't like it as much as, I mean, I like it, but I think they overused it.
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't use the vast majority of opportunities in the map, and they just put
Yeah,
a Batmobile and say, okay, you can go. Also, in Batman world, you have one rule: you don't kill anybody. Okay.
yeah.
But with Batmobile, you can kill. This is like
It's
a
a
bad thing.
it's a loop in the agreement.
So Batmobile was a problem. I mean, I loved it in the game. It was a great Batmobile regarding in the combats or moving
Yeah, the
system.
puzzles.
Everything was good, but not the overuse. I don't know,
Yeah,
overuseness. Yeah, the overuseness of the Batmobile was a little bad.
yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
Can I
but
just something to
okay,
I
go.
don't like I don't really like it that the Batmobile was modeled after Nolan's Batmobile. Just saying. I wanted a
Uh,
Well,
pointy one
yeah,
from Burton.
Tim Burton's was more beautiful and I think more in line with the rest of the design, but I don't know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we just
me-
went with
yeah,
that.
but why you don't like the Nolan's Batmobile? I think it was very good. Like it was like a modernized version of Batmobile.
I think it just lacks imagination.
Yeah, but the problem for
It's a
the
It's
tank.
not
imagination is that
as
you need to
beautifully and
justify.
artistically embroidered
Exactly.
as the
Uh,
previous one.
so, for example, they put a jet engine in front of the vehicle, which is a joke. But at least in the Nolan's version, you can somehow believe that this version
Yeah,
may work.
it's pragmatic and realistic,
Yeah,
but it's
But
not
in,
too
as
much
beautiful as the previous one.
realistic. It's a superhero movie.
Not
The
realistic in the
minute you
sense
add,
that you're gonna have it. Realistic in the sense that
yeah,
you can believe a part of it.
I
exactly.
mean, you can believe Burton's Batmobile too, but but Nolan's Batmobile, I think it lacks imagination. It's a tank. It's a tank that I mean, I can imagine Punisher riding it.
Yeah, I understand your point, and it's, it is in sync with the rest of the movie.
Exactly. Which could be
Uh,
a Punisher movie, and it would make the same sense.
Yeah, but you cannot believe it if, for example, they designed it from artistic view. Yeah.
Okay, this is turning into an extreme nerd
Okay.
conversation, and no,
Let's put this.
we're over time. just say your goodbyes,
Okay.
and then we will continue the discussion privately. Yeah.
Okay.
It was an honor talking with you guys, and that's it. Have a
Honor
great
is
time.
all ours,
Okay.
and I hope the listeners enjoyed it. And I thank Babak for joining
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Nice
And
of him to be
just
here.
saying, we said it in the last episode, but this episode we do have an email address now,
Oh yeah,
and we are also trying to start a YouTube channel. It's just these voice files, but with a
with a
logo.
picture. Yeah,
Yeah. So
Picture of what?
if you're more comfortable
we
listening
haven't
to
decided
YouTube,
on the picture. Probably just the logo.
yeah,
So the email address is yaspcast@gmail.com. That is YASPCAST @Yahoo, not Yahoo, gmail.com. I'm sorry. And we also made an Instagram page. It's also Yaspcast. Just look it up and you will find it in the Explore tab. And the YouTube channel is also going to be Yasp Podcast. And it's the same thing you hear here, nothing extra yet. But we maybe
yes.
try to film ourselves talking in the future.
So yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll hope we see you very soon.
Yeah,